money is going to get rotated down into altcoins, and we're going to start to see a lot of interesting action. So to be continued with some more details on the profile that we've got, and yeah, we'll get you caught up on what to buy and what to sell, and more importantly, what to drink when you're hungry at this time of the day. I'm nasadan. See you on the moon. This one? Yeah, that one's nice. That one's really good. Everybody should be all in on GME. Everyone should take out a student loan and buy GME. My name's Dan. I'm a PhD student studying organizational psychology. And I got super bored of virtual grad school in the pandemic. And so, I started picking up new hobbies. I got some new gear. I probably got way too much, microphone now in my life, but whatever. And I discovered crypto. Actually, you know what? I guess I hadn't really been into crypto very much. But it was really when we were at Lake Shasta this last summer. Jason was there. We were hanging out, and one of our other buddies who was there, his name's Doug, also a Bitcoin maxi. Big man of action. Yeah, hits the wake so hard. It's a wakeboarding, and he just gets up immediately, swings as wide as he can, and hits the wake as hard as he can, and just absolutely eats shit. But anyway, he kind of brought back up Bitcoin. It was at about 10K at that time, and so I bought some after the trip. I was like, yeah, I haven't really thought seriously about this for a while. And I remember looking at the charts and thinking like, oh, okay, it doesn't seem to have gone to zero after, that peak in 2017, as a lot of people thought it might. So anyway, that was kind of the initiation back into it. And I bought more Bitcoin at 13K, feeling really nervous, thinking like, oh man, this is expensive. And, here we are today. Bitcoin is volatile as ever, but it's been up over $61,000. 61,000, that's a lot of money for one coin. Now it's like, a month ago, Bitcoin could buy you one Tesla, and now Bitcoin can buy you like 2 Teslas.
I like that metric. Teslas.
Yeah. And that's, on coin, let's see, I guess I am sharing this window. Okay. Yeah. So on coin market cap, it's a funny website. I use it for just kind of getting a bird's eye view of everything. And, for a while there, they had, it was like programmed as the top, entry of cryptos, and it was a Tesla, and it was priced in Bitcoin. And yeah, they took it off recently, but anyway, there's a lot more details between then and how we got here today, but let's talk about where we are now. So where are we? Where are we today? Right now, Bitcoin sits at $54,000. It's, and oddly, that's after falling what appears to be 10% for the day. Anyone who's not familiar with cryptos would, run for the hills if they saw, any sort of movement like that in any direction, because that's volatile. But this, I think, is lining up to be every market. So Bitcoin has a market cycle every 4 years, as we know. That's due to the Bitcoin halving, the supply with which Bitcoin can get produced cut in half. And when that happens, and there's a reduction in the supply, and you also have this ongoing continuation of adoption, both by individuals, by institutions, you kind of have a cataclysmic explosion in price that results. And I would say that every single market cycle, it has surprised people. And this market cycle is no exception. People were, I vaguely remember back in 2017, hearing about it on mainstream media, thinking like, wow, this is insane. Not really thinking much about it. But now we're at a point where Bitcoin has gone again. and I sold my Bitcoin at 20K. And I've since navigated into altcoins. And because I think that, as a lot of people who are in this space know, every market cycle of Bitcoin, there's at least one alt season.
What's an altcoin?
What's an altcoin? Good question. Yeah, altcoin is it's a loose term. Some people say it's anything other than Bitcoin. All Bitcoin maxis would agree that anything other than Bitcoin is an altcoin or maybe even a shitcoin. But some people don't lump Ethereum in altcoins. Some people don't lump stable coins in altcoins, which are cryptos that are stable, that are pegged to a certain other currency and don't change in their value, like Tether. It's always $1. And the reason why I'm invested in altcoins right now is because when alt season does happen, although it's a very, very small percentage of the year, it makes sense for people to always own a majority Bitcoin. Like I would say 70, maybe even 80 or 90% of the time, if people are in crypto, like their money is best kept in Bitcoin. It's most consistently going up. It's the least volatile of all of them, believe it or not. And therefore it's the least stressful asset to own in the field here.
What's alt season?
So alt season, however, in that 10 to 20% of the time of a market cycle, probably even smaller, usually lasts they can last from a few days to a couple weeks. It's when altcoins just go insane. People make life-changing amounts of money. We're seeing a lot of this we have seen a lot of this actually. And we think it's new, right? Like GameStop has, taken mainstream media by storm, and such a fascinating thing. But the type of gains that people made in GameStop, like those are very commonplace in crypto, especially in alt season. So here we are. Alt season is about to begin, I believe, based on certain things within the market, ecosystem, specific things with Bitcoin. Yeah. Not exactly sure where to go from that.
So give us one reason why you think alt season, we're on the verge of alt season. What is one indicator you look at?
Mm-hmm.
And while describing that, just clarify, like alt season means alternative cryptocurrencies.
Yeah, alt season is just it's like a time period in which altcoins, that is things other than Bitcoin and other than Ethereum, do really, really well.
Like Doge.
Yeah, Doge. That was a surprise to see Doge be the first one to have its altcoin season, which it did. And so I guess, Jordan, to your question, how do I know alt season or think? We never know. None of this stuff is financial advice. Put all your money in Doge, but don't.
Yeah, we'll have something.
Yeah. So, well, a few things. There's time is one thing, right? Time in the market cycle. So, we had 2 alt seasons in the previous market cycle, which went from the end of 2013 to the end of 2017, that 4 years. And in 2017, the last year of that market cycle, we had 2. We had one in March and we had one in December. And during that time period, each alt season, a lot of altcoins went 1,000 to 3,000% gains in each one, right? So if you timed both of those right, then you had a good year. And a lot of people did, but it wasn't really captured by mainstream media. This one I anticipate will be. But so time is the first thing. Here we are in March. Here we are late in the market cycle where Bitcoin has had a long, pretty reliable run, albeit faster than I was expecting. I was expecting this thing to correct, more significantly before now. So time, first thing. Second is various indicators. So I take a very, very simplistic approach. One of the dangers with investing in this space is if you come in without knowledge, without a plan, or if you invest based on like popular sentiment or the mood, right? You're liable to get in a lot of trouble. And so I try to base a lot of my decisions on math. And there are some various approaches that investors, both in the crypto space as well as who invest in anything, stocks, even ETFs or even just major indices, follow patterns that are represented by the Fibonacci sequence. And anyone who's been in this space for a while should be familiar with those. And we're getting to a point where Bitcoin has extended past its previous market cycle top, its previous all-time high of 2017, which was just under 20K. And it's gone through several Fibonacci extension levels up to now we have only 2 more left in what's characteristic of the Fibonacci sequence itself. So the next area of resistance for Bitcoin specifically is around 64K. And then the 4.236 Fibonacci extension for Bitcoin is right around that, 75K. So those 2 areas represent likely market cycle tops for any asset, including Bitcoin. However, I would be remiss to say that to not say that there's a possibility Bitcoin could keep going after that. Maybe that's when we just have our first correction, like in 2017, believe it or not, Bitcoin went way past the 4.236 extension. In fact, if Bitcoin does the same exact extension it did in 2017, then at the end of this market cycle, we would see a $318,000 Bitcoin. That's where, and those numbers aren't unheard of. Like you've probably read about some of those. Like, there have been some executives at Citi who came out and said, $318,000 Bitcoin. Like that's all they did was they just like put this Fibonacci sequence, overlaid it on the price chart, probably, Trading View or wherever. And that's what it leads to. In fact, I can kind of show us that here. But yeah, we're in any case, Bitcoin's getting really, really far along. And yeah, cool. So I'll just kind of show you a little bit of this. This isn't my computer. It's really nice. All right. So basically to plot these out, you start at a top and you drag it down. We need to have a screen so you guys can see this too. We'll have to set that up. Yeah. And this is the Fibonacci sequence, right? So you map it out by, does this rotate? Maybe I can do this. No, okay. So I'll just pretend you guys can see, I guess.
Yeah.
Jordan can see it. Yeah. And you guys have both seen this 1 or 2 times before. Okay. And if in the previous market cycle we had done the stereotypical, the normal 4.236 extension, that would have put Bitcoin at it looks like I've actually not memorized this number yet, but I will now, and it would have been at $4,400. That would have been the 4.236 extension Bitcoin value in 2017 if it had only done the 4.236 extension. However, it went far beyond that, and if you drag this sequence up so that way the top of Bitcoin in 2013 corresponds with the top of this bottom segment within the Fibonacci sequence, then the market cycle top at the end of 2017 lines up, nearly like perfectly with this 4.236 extension, which is a little under 18K. That even fell a little bit short. So again, this is one data point. I'm a PhD. I don't make any decisions off of one data point. But nevertheless, it's a data point. So if we plot this same thing on this market cycle, we gotta make decisions at the end of the day, right? So, man of action as well. You know, there's also such a thing as analysis paralysis, right? Where we can spend the rest of our lives collecting more data points and just watching the world go by. You know, so I'm kind of done with that. So you gotta you know, sure, make informed decisions, but you gotta make decisions. Anyway, so here we are, just with the Fibonacci, you know, plotted on to our new market cycle, as you can see. And if you take this straight out to the 4.236 extension, and you can see these levels of resistance, right? The top here is right under 75K. So that's, you know, a conservative best guess for the top of this market cycle. And however, if you set up this, if you set this up, you know, doing the same exact setup as the previous market cycle, you can see that the top of this comes up to, at least on this chart, about 312K. So where do I think Bitcoin is going to go? It's so hard to say. But I think it would be kind of fun to, you know, a lot of people are afraid of making predictions, and, you know, being someone who has like literally zero credibility in this space, zero credibility even amongst my friends in this space, rightfully so. I haven't had a successful, you know, I haven't even lived through an entire market cycle season where I've been investing. I'd say that I'm going to hold off on making a prediction. Just a second. That's going to be it for tonight. Bye.
Okay.
How'd it go?
It was good. I was having a hard time. Like, I had these other things brought up that I didn't get to. I talked about